everybody, and welcome to Changed for the Better, the Power of Arts in Education. I am your host, Stacy Tirro, and this is the second installment of my new series called Ask Tirro. So this new series was inspired by the idea that so many of my students have had lots of questions for me about my experience, where I started, how did I get to where I am now. So in the first episode, Natalie Alcime had lots of questions to ask, many, many, many questions, ranging from what my early experiences were in music and dance, performing arts, and then how I pursued the performing arts through college and out of college, and then how I landed the gig at Spring Valley High School. Hint, it was not a linear path at all. So in this episode, another alum is putting me in the hot seat. He is a storyteller who does his work through journalism, video, and film. And he happens to be one of my all-time favorite people. So I would like to give a huge warm welcome to my episode 6 guest, Hernz Laguerre Jr.
Woo! Thank you. I'm super excited that you added another series of the Tirro multiverse, I would say. This is really dope. When I saw there was like an Ask Tirro thing, I was like, there's so many things I've always wanted to ask you, but now I get a chance to. I'll just tell you this. So I had like a long list of a lot of questions to ask. But I weaned it down to like, there's like a series where I'm gonna have like a lightning round where I'm just gonna ask you a whole bunch of quick questions. The things I just wanted to know is probably like 7 or 8
Okay.
of them. But a lot of the questions I have just revolves around like philosophy of just like hero and how you go through life.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready to go.
All right, let's do it. Thanks for having me do this, by the way. This is
My
dope.
pleasure.
Cool. So, all right, first question. It has to do with I really love how you title I think it's called Talkspace or Headspace or whatever your website.
Mhm.
You call it Musings as I enter my second act. I just love that whole. There's like so much symbolism with that, with you working in theater and just love for the creative arts. So I love that. So as you're looking at your second act, and I feel like planting seeds in that second act, how would you describe your first act in terms of expectations versus the reality of what the first act came to be?
I think my first act was I was always trying to catch up.
Mm.
Like, I don't know, you know how some people are like old souls? They know how to go about things. They've been here before, if you're talking in the cosmically. I always felt that I was a brand new soul. I've never been here before and I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing. I always was the youngest in everything. Now I'm not anymore. Thus the second act.
Mm.
But I always felt like there was so much that I didn't know, and there were things that I wanted to do, and I was always like just trying to figure out how to get there. And I guess in some ways my second act is, like that too, but now I have like that world of experience from the first 50 some odd years. I don't think I'm as anxious now as I was when I was younger because I never wanted to feel like I didn't know how to do something or I wasn't good at something or I was missing something. And now I'm like, we'll figure it out.
Mm.
It's all good. I always felt like I was trying to prove something, trying to earn my place wherever I was trying to be.
Yeah.
So I think that was the first act. And now the second act, now that I'm that veteran teacher, I'm in the last couple of years. I've been
Yeah.
doing this for a really long time. I think I'm a little more settled now as a human being. And while there's still a lot of things like I don't know what I don't know,
Yeah.
and there are definitely things that I want to do, but I don't know what they all are right now, and I don't know what shape they're going to take. I'm like just more settled in the idea that I will figure it out as I go.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my first act was learning how to do that.
I like that. And I think like the learning comes with just being a new soul in and of itself. I like that phrasing of it. As that new soul, what did you, I guess, lean on, or what did you seek to help guide you in discovering this new territory?
That's a good question.
I told you I'm getting into the philosophy of
You
tarot.
really are.
I'm trying to understand, what makes tarot tick. That's what I'm trying to understand.
Uh,
Yeah.
you're digging deep. I think once I got into Spring Valley and like nobody was really doing what I was doing, I was kind of like making it up as I went along. I had to look around me to figure out where my place was. So Iris Filecoff, if was there as the guide for thespians because I didn't just take over thespians. I started, doing the direction and the choreography, and it wasn't for another like 10 years or so after that that I actually like took over thespians. But I was also in the phys ed department. So part of my existence was in this department that, again, new soul, like I was not well versed in, I was not comfortable in. And even like still to this day, there are things like I have to lean on my other department members to like feel like, okay, yes, I'm good with where I am, in this moment. I was always sort of leaning on teachers. I lean on Chris, my husband, a
Mm.
lot. He's
Shout out to Mr. Tiro.
I know.
Yeah.
He's been my, I guess, a moral compass. Not that I'm, immoral per se, but like when you have to make important decisions, he always gave me, and still to this day does, gives me the perspective that I can't come up with myself necessarily. I'm a critical thinker, but he's a really critical thinker. And
Mm.
so sometimes I'll like kind of just jump into something and he's like the whoa, 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 what's happening here? Let me
Yeah.
understand this better. And that sometimes drives me crazy, but because my nature is let's go do it and I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Because for so many things, especially when you're in theater and when you're in the arts, things change, things are thrown at you all the time.
Yeah.
And so I think I've had to rely on my ability to pivot and adapt. And he doesn't like that, that aspect of life. He wants
Yeah.
everything to be, planned out.
Structured and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And while I do plan, we have this conversation all the time. While I do plan, I plan sort of globally.
Mm.
All the details, we'll get to that. I'll
Yeah.
get to that when it comes.
Got you. You have like a macro view of like the plan, and you're just like, oh yeah, and all the detail, how point A to point B. We'll get there when we get there. Yeah.
Exactly. I was telling
Okay.
Emily because she asked me about my process, like my artistic
Yeah.
process. And I used to be like, write it all down, detail oriented, everything. And that
Yeah.
it got exhausting. And I was like, I really don't need to plan every single beat, every single thing. Like
Yeah.
we can get there. We'll get there. Sometimes I plan it out, sometimes we just kind of let it go.
Yeah. Okay. Word. I like that. So you got sometimes you gotta plan it out. Sometimes you just gotta let it go.
Mhm.
You just figure it out
Mhm.
along the way. I have two more questions of the your first act. I'm gonna hit you with a lightning round, and then
Okay.
I want to get into the second act. Yeah. My second to last question of the first act. I want to know like when did you feel settled into what you were doing, into your purpose? Is there like a particular moment that you were just like, oh, yeah, I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Or like, yeah, like I like this path that I'm on. Or was it like a constant state of discovering and just or just figuring out? Or was there a particular point? And if so,
Yeah.
tell me that story if you remember.
I think I'm still figuring it out.
Ooh, okay.
I really
Yeah,
do. I've been like in this job for 27 years, something like that.
yeah,
And I feel like I belong there but I never take it for granted. Like I always feel like there's something to lose there. I'm always working really hard to try and like do a little better than we did last time. What is the saying? You're only as good as like your next project or something like that.
or yeah,
I've been doing this for such a long time. Maybe it's because like everything is creative and so we're constantly starting from scratch. The structure is there, but each project is completely new and different every single time. I don't feel like I can afford to just kind of like sit back and be like, whatever. My brain has to be constantly engaged in
yeah.
what's the next thought? What's the next thing? And there's a little anxiety there, I think, but Not as much as there used to be. I think because I've been doing it so long, I've just gotten used to that process
Got you.
and just trusting the process.
Right. I like that. I think it kind of goes along. Like one thing I had an assistant coach tell me, you gotta like really just enjoy the journey, the process, right? Because so many times people just look at the end goal, but then they have their eyes like closed, that they have blinders on during the whole journey. It's like the journey is the main part of it all. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It feels good to hear that, to hear you say that. It's like I think it's like confirmation, at least for me. And then the last question of the first act that I have is, what was the thing that you feel like you gained the most from this first act of your life, career too? Like what, or even first act so far, just in life.
Mhm.
What do you feel like you've gained the most?
Probably a lot of things, but what comes to me right now is I can trust myself.
Ooh, I like that.
We've talked a lot here about imposter syndrome, and I feel like it
Hmm.
comes up every like third conversation that I have. I have suffered a lot from that, and I think still do, but I know that I do have good ideas, and I know that I have capabilities that are creative and worthy, and people seem to like the things that I do and say. I get good feedback. So I think more I have been able to trust that, and that helps me to move forward with, things like this podcast, that if I had the idea, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, I never would have thought, why would anybody want to listen to this? But
Mm.
now I'm like, no, I think there's value in it. I'm learning more to value myself and trust that what I have to give, there's value to it.
Yeah. There's so much confirmation, like hearing you talk about your process, talking about trusting yourself. I feel like a lot of us probably like go through the same things of trying to trust ourselves, trying to see if we are capable of doing what we think we can do and stuff like that. And it's always surprising to me every time I hear someone say it. And it's to a point I feel like at the end of this thing called life, we're all gonna like look back at it and be like, yo, we all had the same mentality. Like we all like were thinking the same thing. And there's a director that I love, Ryan Coogler, directed Black Panther, directed like Creed and Fruitvale Station, and he has like some cool stuff he did during his grad years too. He was on an interview and someone asked him, "Hey," I think it was Charlemagne from the Breakfast Club. They asked him, "Hey, when did you know like that you could do this, that you made it?" And then he laughed and he said, "My wife always laughs at me because I say it's after my fourth film." And they asked me, "What was your fourth film?" Black Panther 2. And so, and they were like, wait, what? Like, you had so much success for
Yeah.
all this time. It was after your fourth film that you were just like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And then they asked him, like, you can do it, right? He was like, I'm getting there. Like, but you have talent and a skill. He was like, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm getting there. And I
Still
was
working
like,
on it.
wow. Yeah, and it really floored me because I'm just like, really, bro? Like, you of all people, I would think would believe they have all their stuff together. But yeah, I feel like we're all like on a journey of self discovery.
Because there's always something that you don't know.
Yeah,
There's always something you haven't learned yet. And
yeah,
I think that process of like saying, oh my God, I don't know this. Oh my God, I don't know that, kind of gets in your head and makes you go, oh, well, do I really know anything?
yeah. No, I heard that. I heard that. Well, one thing I do want to know, this main thing I want to know about you, Tiro, and I've comprised all this down to a lightning round. All right.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna say a couple words, some phrases, and you just have to answer to the best of your ability. The first thing that comes to mind, boom, and you got to answer it. All right, you ready?
Okay. Here we go.
All right, cool. It's only a couple. It's only like eight
That's
things.
okay.
But all right.
Only a couple.
Favorite musical. Lightning
Nowadays,
round, Taro.
nowadays, Hamilton.
Okay, cool. Favorite actor and actress.
And oh my God. Okay. Tom Hanks.
Ooh,
And,
okay, that's good.
and oh, actress. Oh my God. I'm so bad at this. I'm not a good lightning round person.
First thing that comes to mind. First person. First person.
Meryl Streep.
Solid pick. Solid pick. Uh, favorite genre of film.
Stupid comedy.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Uh, favorite play that you directed.
That's a loaded question.
Favorite play. Favorite play that you
Okay.
directed.
I
First thing that
think,
comes to mind.
okay. I think In the Heights.
In the Heights. Solid pick. Solid pick. All right. Favorite play and or musical that you were a part of.
Oh, that I was in?
Yeah.
Uh, That's going back a long way. I don't know why this is popping in my head, but and I don't know that this is actually right, but I'm gonna say Evita.
Ooh, I didn't know you were in Avita.
Yeah.
That's the museum one, right? That's the
No,
is
it's
that the
Ava Perón, Argentina. It's an Andrew Lloyd Webber. And normally I don't really like Andrew Lloyd Webber. And I don't know, I
yeah,
really don't know why. I think it was just in my head because I was talking about it with somebody. But I
yeah,
that experience, so it was a regional production in New Jersey, Theater Fest, and Andrea McCardle, who
yeah.
played Annie, back in the 70s,
Hmm.
she was Evita,
Yeah.
and Adrian Zmed from like Dance Fever fame or Solid Gold, one or the other, he played Che Guevara.
Okay. Okay.
And it
Yeah.
was, we were like crawling on the floor and doing, all of this like crazy stuff. And I think I understudied someone. Oh no, that was a different show. But yeah. So anyway, I think it was just very different for me. It was a different kind of show for me. I think I really liked that experience.
All right, cool. I was getting Avita mixed with Aida. That's why I was like, wait, that's the museum.
I was
Yeah, I
never
was
in
like,
Aida.
I was like, Aida, yeah. You know what's funny? I've heard so much stuff about Aida, but I never watched it. But now I also gotta watch Avita. I gotta
Yeah.
see if there's ways I can like maybe see it online.
Well,
Yeah.
Aida, we did in 2016 with Thespians, and that was Brianna Knight who made a little plug our theme song.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And she was
Yeah.
like magnificent. And that's actually our production's up on YouTube. I'll have to send you the link. That was a great
All right, cool.
production.
Oh yeah, send me that. Send me that.
I
And
will.
then the very last question, guilty pleasure. Like what would you like to do on your own time?
Podcasting.
Go
All right, no, no, no. Actually, that's
ahead.
one. That's one, and then the other one is flipping on a trampoline.
Cool. And we'll get into that too. I love it. That wasn't too bad, right? That wasn't
No,
too bad.
no. And my brain doesn't
Yeah.
go fast. I'm like, I just like literally freeze. I'm like, I don't.
The only one I guessed right was Meryl Streep. I had a feeling you were gonna say Meryl Streep. I'm a sucker for Meryl Streep, yo. Like
She's
Devil
like,
Wears Prada. I can watch that like
oh, I
every day if
love
I
that
had to.
movie. I love that
Killed
movie.
it. Bodied that. He's
Oh,
amazing. He's
and
amazing.
oh shoot, this is the problem is that the names don't come to me. She was in both Les Mis and Devil Wears Prada. She played the lead, the young lead.
And Hathaway.
Yeah, Anne Hathaway.
Oh yeah.
I like her too.
Yeah, and Hathaway is dope too. Yeah, she did an awesome job in Les Mis. She was good. I like her too. Word. Okay. All right. So onward to the second act.
Okay.
The second act.
Yeah.
How would you describe it so far? Like and like your process through it. I feel like you are actively pursuing many different things, and we'll get into that. But how would you describe the second act? At least how it looked. How it
Discovery.
looked so far. Discovery.
Discovery. Hmm.
Mm,
I'm kind of exploring things that, I wasn't trained for as a
mm,
as a young person and in my career. They're kind of taking a little detour from like the path that I've been following.
yeah.
So in that process, I had to learn a lot of new things that I wouldn't have thought to ever pursue. And so the podcasting and the writing is all sort of part and parcel to that discovery process because now, every time I do something new, like I'm writing it down and, sometimes I blog about it and sometimes I just write it so I just remember it because I don't remember things very well.
Yeah.
And the gymnastic stuff is like there is always something new to learn. Like
No,
I never get to the point where I'm like, well, I've learned everything that I can. No, there's always something else.
for sure. I want to get into the podcast. I'm gonna hit geriatric gymnast first. I love the idea of just like gymnastics. Ever since I was like little, like watching the Olympics, that's like the main time I watched like
Right.
gymnastics and stuff. I've always was like, yeah, I can do that. I could do that. Like as a little kid, and
Right.
then learning that my limitations were just like kind of doing a front flip if I'm on a bed, or like doing a backflip if I'm on like a surface. Yeah, yeah, like that's the only way I could do it. And then it came to a point I just had to admire and just give it up to gymnasts because the relationship that they have with their bodies is second to none. You know what I mean? The fact that they could like be in the air and understand how their body could move so that they can do certain stuff. There's a science to it and like almost like a fantastical element to it that I'm just like, yo, you're freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So that's part of the reason why, like, I just want to be able to do that. I feel like I understand my body how it moves, but I feel like once I do, like, if I'm able to do gymnastics or able to like try to do gymnastics,
Mhm.
I will understand it better. Your journey through gymnastics, like, do you feel like you're understanding that relationship a little better? And if so, what are you gaining from it? From being, as
So
you call
much.
yourself, the geriatric gymnast.
Yeah, so much. Although
Yeah.
right now I'm sort of nursing a couple of herniated discs and a
Ooh.
shoulder yeah, it's
Yeah.
whatever. I gain everything from the process of doing gymnastics. So there's that learning process, right? That constant discovery of things that I never would have ever tried or think that I had any business trying, because in the gym there's squishy surfaces. You can actually try something and land safely and not
Yeah.
kill yourself. Yes, there are limitations, and I'm well aware of my limitations, but within those parameters, that keeps stretching, and that has been stretching for the last, like, 15 years. I mean, I started about 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, in my first year, I never thought I would be able to do a back handspring back tuck, right? That was not a skill set that I ever imagined that I'd be able to do. And then, like, I got it, and then I lost it, and then I got it. And so there's this, like, constant building. And one of my favorite phrases, and I always make it into a hashtag, is progress isn't linear. And
Mm,
that has informed
I like that.
everything. Being a teacher, being a mother, being just a person that learns. Just when you think you're like, "Oh, you've got it," and then whatever happens, your brain gets distracted, or the weather changes, or whatever, somebody looks at you the wrong way, and you don't have it, and so you have to build yourself back to getting it. That's been a very humbling experience, and enlightens the fact that you take nothing for granted.
Yeah.
You might get it. You might, you might get lucky and get it, and then be able to repeat it and do it several times. But, in 3 weeks from now, something might get in your way and you won't have it again. And you have to, like, go back, and the fundamentals of things. And again, this is whether I'm teaching, dance or theater or doing gymnastics or anything. When you go back to your fundamentals, you can build yourself back to where you think you were.
Yeah, like you have to build that foundation. And I see you like in all your videos. I love watching the gymnast videos. But
Mhm.
one reason is it's inspiring because, like I said, I love gymnastics and always thought I was at a point where I was just too late to do it because all the the gymnasts they start like when they're in the womb. They show old videos of, like Simone Biles or like she was that one girl that I loved her so much. Jordan, something Jordan.
Oh, Jordan Childs.
Jordan Childs, yeah, Jordan. Was she? I know she did big things in 2008. Like
Mm.
2008, she was huge.
Yeah,
Like
she was on
2008.
well, she was on the Olympic team, the last Olympic team in 2020.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it might be someone else. Oh no, I'm thinking about
Oh,
Sean
Shawn
something.
Johnson.
Sean Johnson. Yeah, Sean. Yeah, I love Sean Johnson. She was amazing. She was on Dance with the Stars too. She did an
Yes.
awesome job. But yeah, I see like all these videos of them like before they can even talk, their parents are just like getting them to do flips and stuff. I'm just like, oh dang, it's way too late for me to even like try to see if I could do flips and stuff. And when I see you out here doing it, I'm just like, yeah, it's not too late, yo, and it gets me really excited.
Well, that's
But
the
yeah,
beauty of
yeah,
being an adult gymnast, is that you have to approach it from a humble place. Like, I can't do all that. I'm gonna
yeah,
do this
exactly.
little thing. And so, like, you're
Yeah.
more willing to do the basics because everything scares you.
Everything does scare you, but it's great when you have like an awesome teacher. Like, and I got to give you a shout out. I was doing cartwheels with like some family and stuff, and my brother in law, Kavan, he was just like, "Yo, why are you so graceful?" And my sister was like, "Yo, it's Miss Tirro. Miss Tirro taught me how to be graceful." I'm pointing my toes as I'm doing like cartwheels and stuff. So I was just like, "Yo, it's that foundation. It's the foundation that made my cartwheels look so graceful."
Always stretch
um,
your legs.
exactly. No, I want to get into the other awesome podcast that you have. The series that you have, Change for the Better. I think the moment you told me that idea, I was like, man, this is so genius because you have like multiple decades of teaching and the flood of like students that you dealt with that you were able to mentor, teach, and was able to get under your wings for not only with dance but like with thespians and everything. there is a wealth of knowledge for you to tap into, and just like a series that can go on forever. You know what I mean? Because like there's so many students that you've been able to have, and it's fun like reaching out to other like alums and stuff, and they're like, oh yeah, you had Tirro. I'm like, oh yeah, Tirro, you had Tirro too. So it's a cool like connection thing. What would you say is a reoccurring theme within like all of the guests that you have, with all the students that you have? What's a reoccurring theme that keeps popping up with all these episodes?
There's a lot. One is the imposter syndrome
Mm,
thing. We talk about that a lot.
yeah.
Mental health, the focus on mental health,
Oh yeah.
and how, oftentimes in adolescence, it's just such a mess, it's a chaotic brain mess. So that awakening and how the arts were central to their like figuring out who they are and how they think, and the family aspect within that environment. The idea of knowing how to express yourself, like learning how to express who you are through all these, whether it's dance or it's theater or it's singing, that has come up a lot.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. It's beautiful. It's like the episodes I've been able to watch of how their time with you helped them like in their journey of they're trying to find themselves. It's probably humbling, gratifying, and all those things. Like just being able to see the change that you've had with all these folks.
It
Yeah.
warms my heart. It really does. I've always gotten, really lovely feedback from people, even, years
Mm,
later. And as I'm kind of nearing towards the end of my career, that actually helps, which is maybe another reason why I'm doing it, but it actually helps me go, I'm getting older. I feel like I'm getting a little bit tired sometimes. Do I still have what these adolescents need? And
yeah.
I think because I keep hearing the same things over and over from, one sort of decade to the next, I'm like, okay, I understand what adolescent human beings need. And it's not, how do I do a triple turn?
Mm,
It's more connection. And I know how to connect. I'm comfortable with that. I'm happy to do it.
yeah. You're awesome at it. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
No, but for real, you are like you have the ability just to make people feel very comfortable with you. You know what I mean? Like as much as I love like musical theater, there were some parts that felt like outside of my comfort zone. Like I shared with you during our episode of Change for the Better, and definitely being able to have you as like a coach and then director to be able to make me feel comfortable doing the uncomfortable. Whatever, we'll forever be grateful for that. Which brings me to the last couple of questions. You're coming across the final scenes of this first act. And I truly wonder, what will you miss the most? What are you looking forward to? And based off of your first act experience, what will you carry with you as you embark on the second act?
As much as I, love my summer vacation, it's like I'm looking forward to the eternal summer vacation.
Yeah.
Um, but I do think that there is something in the regular having something really creative to do where people are looking to me to guide that, to push the effort. It is exhausting. And so there are times when I'm like, I need a
Yeah.
break, thus summer vacation. People ask me, do you work during summer? I'm like, um, so
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
think there's an element of I'm gonna miss that. I'm gonna miss like that connecting to those kids and the discovery, like watching the discovery process, seeing them have those epiphanies about themselves, like, oh, I can, like, yes, I know you can, that kind of stuff. And I am also looking forward to, I guess, seeing myself in a different place, in a different venue, maybe doing not completely different, but somewhat different stuff. You spend 30 years as a teacher, and there's a lot of, repetition. And thankfully, in my line of work, there's always new projects, like that you just keep rolling the projects, but the schedule, is like always the same. I can't take a vacation really because,
Mm,
if I'm going to go to Disney, I have to go in August. Like, who wants to do
yeah.
it? So I will definitely look forward to being able to just up and go wherever I want, like kind of wherever, whenever I want.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I don't really realize how hard it's gonna be, but to, like, extricate yourself from the thing that you've been doing habitually for so long,
Yeah,
that's gonna take a little time to sort of sink in. Like, when September comes and I'm not in the dance studio,
yeah.
then
That's probably when it hits you the most.
yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah. But like you said, with the always the ongoing projects and stuff, I think a lot of stuff that you have lined up for you. With the thing I'm excited for the most, you already know what it is, the cross country trip. You know what I mean? That I hope you document and do, because that's the one thing I need to do in my life, and I don't know when I'm gonna do it, and I'm
Mhm,
trying to like figure out what life is gonna be to see when I do it. But I have to drive across the country,
mhm.
and this is about to be your second time doing it, and I'm low key, high key jealous. But I just need to know how that goes. But yeah, I think you having a lot of these things to look forward to will bring that excitement. We'll make it at least the transition easier. All right, cool. And then the last question is more so of a statement that you got to finish. Ready?
Mm,
You ready for it?
okay.
Stacy Tirro is
Still figuring it out.
word. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. Beautiful. As we all are trying to figure it out. It's comforting hearing you say that. I feel like it's reassuring as well. Like knowing that like we're all trying to figure it out in
We're all
this
just
journey.
like, "I gotta swim."
Yeah. Exactly. Trying our best to swim as best as we can. But Tara, this is fun, yo.
Yeah.
I feel like I understand you a bit more, yo. This is dope. This is cool.
Well, that's awesome, and, you can ask me any question anytime. We don't have to be on a Zoom for that.
You already know. Like probably next week I'm gonna hit you up. Like, oh, I have one more question. Yeah, exactly, exactly. But no, this was great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for coming on and coming up and, like, shocking my brain with, lightning round.
With
My
some
brain's
lightning
like,
around stuff.
"Lightning round, ah!"
No, yeah, yeah, your choices were good. Like I said, the only one I guessed was the Meryl Streep one. The all the other ones, I was like, okay, cool. I gotta check this out. I gotta,
I'm gonna tell Chris, that you did a lightning round. He's be like, "Okay."
yeah. He was like, I can't wait to see that one. Wait, but I do have a question about the. You said your favorite genre of film is like silly comedy and stuff like that. Do you
Mhm.
have a favorite? Do you have a favorite that you like? Because
I
I
think
have one that comes to mind.
the
Yeah.
one that always kinda keeps coming back to me is Dodgeball. That's with, oh
If you could
god.
dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball.
There is something about somebody getting hit in the face with a wrench. It cracks me up every time. I
It's
don't know.
hilarious. Have you ever watched The Other Guys?
No.
I don't know what you got planned for after this or this weekend or whatever. The Other Guys,
Other
the
guys.
dumbest, funniest movie. I'll just say this: The Rock and Samuel L. Jackson are in it for the first 5 minutes, and there's a reason why they're only in it for 5 minutes, and it's
Okay.
the silliest thing in the world. And then Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg pretty much carry the movie for the rest of the film.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay.
It's like it's so when you get to the part where Samuel L. Jackson and the Rock pretty much leave the film, you'll replay it over and over again because you're like, wait, how did this? Why is this happening? It's the hilarious film.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like that kind of being sort of surprised by something being funny. Like, funny despite my thinking it's stupid, like, it's funny anyway.
yeah,
There's a lot of things that I like, a lot of comedies, and I'm like, The Hangover is one of them.
yeah.
People are like, "Oh my god, it's, like, such a great film," and I'm like, you know?
You're like, yeah, I guess, yeah, yeah.
Alright, whatever. So, I now I'm holding you to it. Now I have to, like, watch this film and hope it cracks me up.
We'll see if it reaches the dodgeball levels of funny for you. But
That's right. Justin
yeah,
Long getting hit in the face and falling down, like, it's just funny. It's just
yeah,
funny.
exactly. Yeah, it's silly. Yeah,
Well, thank you,
yeah.
Hernz Laguerre Jr., one of my favorite people in the entire world,
It's
and
my favorite hero. Appreciate you.
we'll talk again very soon, and
Mm.
thank you everybody for joining us for this little deep dive into lightning round brain. I don't know. Tune in next time for Change for the Better. Thank you for watching. That was awesome.
That was cool. That was awesome, yo. I love, like I said, I love the building of the Tirroverse. That's what I'm gonna call it, the Tirroverse. You know, we got the gymnastics, we got the change for the better. We have asked Tirro, and I think honestly, like, and hopefully you hear this, like you're building like a media empire in and of itself. You know what I mean? I thought you're barely scratching the surface of the stuff that you could do within the stuff that you're already doing, and like maybe some more ideas are gonna come along with it. But I love it. I love to catch up on and see all the cool things. You know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's fun, and this is all like that discovery, like me trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do with my time. What's that like when you retire and then you're like, I'm just not going to do anything, and I get bored of that. Actually, something else to do.
And tell me the date again. What's the date of like retirement? Like
Um, so I want to
I'm
say
surprised you don't have it tattooed on your arm.
I
That's
know
ridiculous.
it's pretty ironclad as far as I'm concerned right now. July 1st, 2027.
You got four of them, yo,
Basically,
yeah.
Sophie and I will graduate together.
Love you, Tara. I
And
appreciate you.
then thank you.
Yeah, yo.